extend a warm welcome to our panelists from Cognizant, KeyBank, Ocado, and Cox Communications.
Good morning. Thank you everyone for coming in. And we are all excited to share our ideas and thoughts, what we had went through in this journey from a CX transformation perspective. Good to meet you all again. And the next 45 minutes is going to be really an exciting storytelling to you all. So feel free to ask questions in the end. And we have seen the AI evolve a lot in this period, right? So we have seen from the way that CX evolved, we have seen from the chatbot how the interaction happened. And today we are all talking about agentic. So we heard from the keynote as well yesterday. And there a lot of exciting stuff happening. So in this, how we crafted our journey as Cognizant and how we taken our customers in this transformation journey is what we want to take you all through. With all of this, today we have KeyBank, we have Ocado Retail, and we also have Cox Communication. In 3 different industries. Their starting point was very different from the transformation journey perspective, but what they achieved is really a great transformation story, right? And thanks all for coming in. Would like to hear your thoughts as we get in. Kim, probably go with your
Thank you so much to Cognizant for having me today, and thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm excited for the conversation. I think it's going to be a great learning experience for everyone. I'm excited to learn from my peers over here as well. My name is Kim Agin. I have been in financial services for over 17 years in a variety of different roles. Today, I run data strategy, analytics, operational reporting for conversational AI and the contact center at KeyBank.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kieren Johnson. I'm from Ocado. If you're not familiar, Ocado is an online-only grocer in the UK. And we've been doing automation of physical operations for the last 20-odd years, automated with highly automated warehouses and stuff like that. And now we're moving on to the sort of thinking about automating our customer experience. And looking forward to sharing how that's working out in practice.
Hey, good morning, all. I'm Chirag Gheewala. Happy to be on the stage along with Arun and Kieren and Kim. And also happy to share the Cox's journey on generative AI with all of you. This is my 14th year with Cox Communication, and I'm currently leading conversational AI and generative AI capability for our customer and agent experience.
Awesome. At Cognizant, what we bring to the table is an experience-led transformation, right? And a lot of time, there are many visions has been drawn, but is that vision has been taken into a reality? So that's what we driven in many places, right? So while you hear from Chirag, Kieren, and Kim about all of that, we would like to play a video about who we are, what we bring to the table, how we transform our customer ecosystem is what we would like to hear. A quick video.
With expectations soaring and AI transforming the experience landscape, enterprises need intelligence that is proactive, adaptive, and autonomous. Customers expect instant answers, seamless journeys, and outcomes that just work. Organizations need AI-powered contact centers that's secure, reliable, and built for scale. For over 15 years, Cognizant and Google have partnered at the premier level, advancing agentic AI, Gen AI, analytics, and integrated solutions together. We've built accelerators and co-innovation capabilities that drive faster, smarter digital transformation. Gemini Enterprise for CX unlocks scalable innovation with intuitive tools that make it simple to build and deploy agentic AI. Transform your CX landscape using Gemini Enterprise for CX and Cognizant accelerators. Built on an enterprise-ready architecture designed to scale AI agents across global operations. Across industries, from retail to communications to consumer goods, AI-driven transformation is delivering real, measurable results, redefining customer experience at scale. Bring autonomous, industry-aligned agents to your customer journeys with Cognizant and Gemini Enterprise for CX.
So yesterday you might have heard about the Gemini Enterprise for CX, and that's what we were driving to do from day one, right? So when it was launched, even at the pre-GA stage, so we brought in those vision into a reality in some of the places, right? And I mentioned about the experience-led transformation. So what we were doing all across in this ecosystem, and probably Kieren will also highlight about it, the hyper-personalization in every part of the customer journey, right? You have a great amount of data, you have a great amount of insights and intelligence about your customer. How you harness that and make that transformation is what we do day in, day out. With this, I want to take an opportunity to ask a question to Kim around a lot of vision around AI has been drawn, right? And I know your banking as an ecosystem is very difficult from a regulatory standpoint, and the vision can be drawn, but making it real is always a question. So could you share some of the vision to the audience and how you planned it and how you strategized it? So if you can throw some light, it would be great.
Yeah, of course. So we've been on a multi-year transformation journey in the contact center at Key. We've, both from a technology perspective as well as a client experience perspective, we've migrated to the cloud, we've updated and modernized our technology infrastructure stack, we've released our first conversational virtual assistant in our web and mobile space over the last 3 years. And I think key in our contact center space, we really take the approach that we understand that our clients aren't just going to check their expectations at the door because we're a bank, right? They expect to have the amazing experiences that they get, whether it be at a retail organization or a communications organization, when they come to speak to us on their everyday needs from a banking perspective. And so we really spent time over the last 3 years building that foundation so that we would be able to create new experiences for them and bring the emerging technologies to life. And so what I think about our vision for today is really quite simple. So we've got 3 strategic priorities. We are looking to orchestrate new experiences for our clients. We are looking to drive more self-service. And we are looking to simplify the role of our teammates internally. Our CEO, Chris Gorman, says all the time, contact center agents at a financial institution have one of the hardest jobs. People are calling because something that matters very important and deeply to them is wrong. And so you want to make sure that you can meet them in that moment and really help them on that journey. And so a couple of things that we've implemented in the past year, actually, to help to continue to grow that foundation and establish that baseline is we've introduced several LLMs, whether that be call and chat summarization. And just for context, we now are able to call and chat summarize every single interaction. And we take about 500,000 calls per month and 30,000 chats. And that's really important because if a client is talking to us and they need to transfer or they need to talk to someone else, we want to carry that context forward so that they're not repeating themselves and they don't have to start from square one. Another strategy that we've recently implemented is around our intelligent routing. So all of you, I'm sure, has interacted with an IVR, which is the interactive voice response system. Press 1 for this, 2 for that. Oftentimes, when people are frustrated, they'll pound 000 or they'll say agent, agent, agent. And so we've now implemented a strategy where at the last moment, we'll ask them to tell them in their own words, what are you calling about? And why that's really important to us is because when you don't have context of who someone is coming into the contact center, we have to route you to one of our highest skilled agents. And oftentimes, that's not what they're calling about. They're not calling about something that really deserves that level of understanding and training. And so in early findings with this pilot that we've gone live with in Q1, we've seen about 8,000 calls where we've been able to reduce the cost to serve because we know where these clients are going. And that actually translates into meaningful dollars. So on that small pilot, it's about $18,000, and that's just for Q1. As we look at the opportunity to scale that across that entire use case, it's about 1.1 million in savings from a cost to serve kind of deflection. And so I think the work we're doing right now is really then starting to build that foundation for the next stage, which is our agentic strategy. Because if you know what your clients are calling about and you can help them and you have context about them, then you can start to orchestrate where that servicing need needs to go and whether it's human-worthy or non-human-worthy.
Oh, awesome. So the moment that matters, right? So you created that moment. And Kieren, I'm pretty sure the retailer's expectations are very different from the banking. Yeah. How do you create that moment, Kieren?
Yeah, I guess our retail expectations are slightly different, but the customer being looking after the customer is obviously a fundamental part of that. Ocado operates in possibly one of the most competitive retail environments in the world. Grocery is incredibly competitive in the UK. And the company was founded 20-odd years ago, 25 years ago, on an ethos of automation and scale and efficiencies, just to help to make sure that we could keep down operating costs as much as possible. And we've been pretty successful at doing that, but it has always been a bit of a struggle to sort of stretch that out into the customer experience space and do that on scale, because obviously it's quite hard to do personalization at scale, as we know. But we now see that generative AI and large language models are transforming that environment, and it's now possible to think about how we can interact with the customer in a different way that we weren't able to do before. And so we've started working with Cognizant, implementing, re-platforming our customer technology platform, putting in place, centered on CCAI, and Salesforce Service Cloud, and our own enterprise data layer. And that's meaning we have the right data in the right place for our agents, or our virtual agents, or our human advisors. And we're able to get the customers' order status, their account status, and other information to the bot where it needs to be at the time. And that's so our vision now is being able to sort of service customers in a personal way that we weren't able to do before, and at scale. Now you get these all beautifully curated conversations, which we could never do before.
Awesome. Yeah, so Chirag, with you in a kind of a cost pressure ecosystem always, right? So I'm pretty sure any technology coming in is, there is a huge expectation. So when you drawn that vision, what went into your thinking? What is something that you were driving from a vision and strategy perspective, Chirag?
Sure. So we had a great IVR system, and we had discrete chat platform, and we kept changing that. So Cox made a bold decision to go all into Google CCAS and CES ecosystem. And then we had a challenge from our EVP that we wanted to deliver faster. And I'm very proud to say that the team delivered, and within 3 months of we signing a contract, we were able to relaunch our Oliver experience, which is more personalized, more interactive, and with having a generative AI capability. Along with that, like our idea was mainly to help our customers solve the critical, complex problems like billing. As Keith mentioned, that when customer calls into our contact center, they're generally talking about a problem. They are not just talking about, mostly it is service-related stuff. So we want to make sure that our interaction is they are not trapping our customer. And we went with our hybrid model, where we kind of did a balance of deterministic and generative AI capability. And due to that, we were able to see a high adoption into our digital the moment we launch our platform. We also continued with a focus of having a unified AI model. So that way, we are able to launch our voice IVR capability for certain intent within 3 months. So our vision was very clear. We wanted to go faster, put the business value as soon as we can, and then get the ROI as fast as we can.
Awesome. Yeah, great to hear. And yeah, so the vision was solid, right? When the moment matters, and keeping the personalization and keeping all the expectations as well. Definitely a lot of thinking around, hey, how will I execute? What is really needed for me to execute, right? What's the strategy work well with your organizations? Maybe a quick information will be helpful to the audience as well.
Yeah, I can definitely start on the strategy. So as we embarked our journey, we had like around 5 guiding principles, I would say. Firstly, we wanted a best in-channel customer experience. If a customer comes to the channel, we want to make sure that their issue is resolved in the channel. Secondly, as I mentioned, a unified AI platform. So that way we can, whenever it's a new channel we are launching, we are not providing a discrete AI capability. Along with that, we also built a centralized knowledge hub, which feeds into not only our contact center application, but also our customer-facing search and agent experience side of things as well. If we need to move faster, as a third principle we had was reusability. So we had all the business logic reusable across all of our channels. And then any bot we launch in production, if it does not have a good continuous feedback loop, then the customer experience, you have no visibility on what's going on. So we made sure that our continuous feedback loop is faster, and we take action on them very quickly. And lastly, responsible AI is very important. So we made sure that responsible AI is into our development lifecycle of each stage and activity we are doing it. So along with technology, I would say people play a big role into it. And we had a very, very clear vision from our leadership that there was no ambiguity in terms of our objectives. So it really helped all the team members to deliver on those objectives. And finally, we had a very good partnership with our business partners. It was very clear what is ownership and operating model. And there were not a lot of layers taking decisions. And that helped us to move really fast. And within a year or so, we were able to add 25 plus new intents onto our Oliver as well as our Olive, which is our conversational IVR experience.
Perfecto. Yeah, so Kim, would you like to share?
Yeah, I think something that's kind of unique about the area I sit in at Key is we have a very different organizational structure. And it's actually one of the reasons I took the job that I'm in today, because I truly believed in this structure, because if you're going to transform things, you really need to have everyone have a seat at the table, right? And so in our structure, we have our operations team, which I would consider our SMEs. We have our technology team, our product team, and our analytics team. So we all are kind of centralized together to really understand, like, what is it that we're going after and what is the problem there? And how are we being diligent and uncovering friction, whether it be for our clients or our teammates? And then that translates into really good product requirements, handing off to our dev teams. From a data infrastructure perspective, which is near and dear to my heart, it's given us the availability to kind of create a inner orchestration layer, if you will, for near real-time data to share across all of our data applications. And then it also gives us the availability. We just recently, in the last 3 years, built our data asset, which is a Google-based cloud application, to take all of that historical data and land it somewhere. So all of that really rich context and interaction data is now landing in the perfect kind of well-governed, unified space that we can use to leverage for analytics, we can use it for reporting, and now as we shift into the emerging technologies around LLMs and agentic AI, it's great for monitoring observability and running our LLM ops off of that. And so I think because we kind of really ground ourselves on what is the problem at hand and what is the friction we're trying to reduce, everyone can kind of come together in each lane and each part and work together to really set up an ecosystem that helps to accelerate what we're trying to do.
Awesome. So Kieren, that brings a very key question from a strategy, because you mentioned a very exciting point about bringing Google, bringing Salesforce, Service Cloud all together, right? So the strategy has to be so strong, and some of the decision making around the technology has to be so strong as well. Can you share your thoughts?
Yeah, I think so. I echo Kim's comments about data. Data is, and you've probably heard this in many talks before, but data is fundamental to enabling these technologies and enabling the ability of an AI chatbot to work effectively. And so we made sure that we had a sort of core platform for getting all our order status data and all that data in the right place, and putting that up to the Dialogflow CX where we have our chatbot running. So that was a core fundamental part of it. I think another second part of the strategy, which we sort of adopted, was to make sure that we engaged the customer hub and made them the owner of the program. The customer hub is what we call our contact center. I'm not sure what that's familiar. But and so we made them, they're essentially been training, they've been testing the chatbot, they've been making the alterations to it, working directly with the product teams, and are very much engaged in that. They treat it kind of like an additional advisor in their team. And I think that's really helped with the adoption. We've seen actually that we've had to increase the amount of roles in the customer hub to help manage and sort of deal with the performance, look at performance and all these other metrics which we're getting out of the chatbot. And I think that's a really positive story.
Awesome. So with this, while you have a right vision and the best plan in place, right? So always this transformation doesn't go with what the way we expect, right? So that's where the fun part comes in. And the good part is when we see the outcome, definitely we are all cheering up, saying, yeah, great work. But there are so many business challenges we come across. Maybe if you can share what kind of major challenges you have come across, and is there a kind of a plan or a mitigation you can suggest to the audience? It would be awesome.
I'm happy to start.
Yeah.
So in financial services, we are a highly regulated organization, or industry, I should say. And so I think a lot of our challenges kind of start to come into this balancing act, which I'm sure many of you probably experience in your own world. So the speed at which you can now deliver things is much faster than the speed at which we can get through our risk and operational processes, right? And then on the flip side of that, innovating just to innovate, you can't lose sight of performance and what you're doing today and making sure that you're holding true to the value you're bringing to the organization. And then also in the contact center, we have challenges around adoption from people are scared, is this going to take over my job? Am I not going to have a job after this? And so if I kind of think of that balancing act between speed and regulations and performance and adoption, I think we kind of tackle it in an interesting way at Key. So highly regulated industry, model risk management policy is a very big, real concern. Our organization is working to kind of understand how do we automate through our risk processes so that we can start to match speed to delivery. I'm not sure how many of you are in banking, but the Federal Reserve just gave guidance last Friday, which was new to my speech, that they have a whole new perspective on what it means to monitor and observe from a model risk policy perspective at financial institutions. So even still, in our area, it's changing, and we're trying to unpack what that means, and I'm sure that's open to new guidance that's going to come out. And so working together with my engineering team to understand that I'm not slowing them down, but instead we're trying to implement in a safe and responsible way is very important. And then if I look at our, not losing sight of, the metrics and the value that we bring to the organization today, our IVR, so the interactive voice response unit, we are at a 78% containment rate, which is industry best. And so to put that in perspective, we take 2 million calls a day, and only 500,000 end up in an agent's hand. If we're going to innovate that, and we're going to move it from the traditional touch tone, and we want to put an LLM bot in front of it to then fire off agentic, we cannot let that slip, because more calls to more people equals more money. And so we have to keep in the guiding principles that is our goal out there that we need to work towards. And then I think there's also that human component in the contact center. Everybody says, AI is going to make our lives easier, we're not going to need these jobs. And so I think, again, our organizational structure helps with this because we have our partners at the table who are making the decisions with us. And no one's kind of feeling like they're being told that this is coming, but instead they're part of the conversation, and they can communicate out more effectively and get buy-in with the agents on the floor. And we really try and ground ourselves in, we are working to take non-human, mundane tasks off your plate so that we can then skill you up to handle more complex things, meet our clients with empathy, with tools to help you do your job better. And I think I would say just across the board, if you were going to leave with anything today, our role is to really implement AI responsibly, and that responsibility comes down to our companies, our clients, our teammates, and our community. And when you put that in perspective, I think it's easy to kind of work through those challenges versus seeing them as roadblocks.
Super. Perfect. So, Kieren, the great part from the way that you deployed the solution is, right, so it is very nimble, and you brought in multiple systems together as well. So is there any specific challenges you have seen by bringing these systems together, or is it different from the way that your business adapted the system changes together?
Yeah, I can talk about a couple of challenges that we faced. I mean, the original challenge, one of the sort of drivers, I suppose, that we had for this was that our the chatbot that we've been operating for 6 or 7 years simply just wasn't good enough. It was one of those kind of chatbots where you type in a question and then it repeats the question back to you and says, "Is that what you were asking?" And it's not particularly helpful. And customers are very, very quickly figure out their way to just route past the chatbot and get to a human advisor and do that. Having said that, we had a containment rate of around 40%, so on paper it looked okay, but we just knew that the quality was really poor. So overcoming that challenge, introducing a conversational agent has really made a massive difference, and we've been able to move containment from 40% to 60% with that deployment in a very short time. And at the same time, our NPS score didn't change at all, so that showed that we were able to still serve the customers in a really effective way, but at a higher volume as well. So it felt like a really good win for us.
Awesome.
The second thing I think, which is a kind of a sort of interesting, when we were thinking about chatbots and voice bots as well, we have a big cohort of delivery drivers that deliver our customers' orders to their houses. We call them CSTMs, customer service team members. And they spend a lot of time out on the road, and every now and then, if a customer's not in, they might have to call the contact center and just say, "We have an issue. Can you just check whether the customer's left a message," and stuff like that. And we thought a good place to deploy a voice bot would be to sort of take those calls away from the human advisors in the contact center and see whether we could implement a voice bot. But actually, we probably just didn't engage enough with those drivers, because what we found out later is that that call they make to the contact center is one of the ones they kind of almost look forward to. A lot of their interactions during the day are quite transactional with customers, and while they're very friendly, they're usually just carrying your groceries into the kitchen and just saying, is everything fine, and then walking out, and that's done. So actually, they quite like that human interaction. So I think we have to be really careful about how we deploy voice bots, and that was a real learning for us.
Awesome. On our side, basically, from a technology standpoint, we have been, as I mentioned, faster delivery. But I was confident that we have a great partner like you guys, and we work with Google also, and we were able to deliver, as I mentioned, around 25 plus intents in less than a year. While we went with a faster delivery, as AI is rapidly evolving, a lot of typical DevOps processes are not there yet, and we had to take some decisions in order to meet the pace, but also make sure that the fundamentals of our development life cycles are not impacted. So before we end up into a challenge of facing that post-production implementation, we kind of we brought in our security folks ahead of this phase, like while we were doing designing and development. And also we at Cox built AI governance or AI council, which was governing all the AI implementation which goes in production. And because of that, we are able to bring in our responsible AI ahead of the stage rather than doing it afterwards. So that was definitely a good. And the continuous feedback, like as I mentioned, some of these tools are still evolving. So there is no out-of-the-box continuous feedback loop. And that's where we worked with our data team to bring data into our data lake and run some machine learning AI algorithms on top of it, so that there is a continuous feedback loop, so that we can deliver those capabilities and improve our customer experience faster. And I'm proud to say that within a year or so, we have implemented our 500 plus continuous improvements, which helped our customer experience immensely. And it's very happy to see that when the customer is talking with a bot and they are saying that, thanks for your help, thank you very much. So it feels like your baby is doing really great and everybody is appreciating it.
Yeah, so here a lot of greater insights from the challenges perspective, right? And the metrics which you have shared, like 78%, 80%, industry standard. Always people look for, hey, what will I do more than this when I bring in a technology? And the great one, which you have also summarized, Kieren, as an example, right, from an outcome perspective, the way that you are targeting towards, it's just not a containment as a strategy. Beyond that, how I can improve the customer experience and technology as well, right? That's right. Just if I ask you all three, one standout outcomes which made your business, wow, okay, you guys did it, right? Can you just talk about that one great outcomes which you would like to highlight?
You want to go first? I'll start.
Yeah.
So obviously, I talked about the metrics of containment earlier, which we moved from 40 to 60%, and our NPS score is still 75, which is incredibly high for retail. And so that just showed that the transition went really, really well. And that's before we've only done very simple, the simplest things, where is my order, and some order status kind of checks with that. We want to build in refund logic and lots of other stuff, so that will improve that still. I also want to give that's all with the quantitative stuff. I wanted to give a qualitative story about how it is to use a conversational agent and why it's so different. We had one customer sort of start a chat, and she said, when I added my bottle of Baileys to my order, it was on promotion and it had this price. I just want to check that it doesn't seem to be on promotion anymore, but I just want to check that when it's delivered, I'll get it at the promotional price. And the agent went off, the conversational agent went off and found the perfect knowledge-based answer, gave the response and said, yes, you'll get it at the promotional price and so on. And so the customer was quite happy and said, thank you very much. And the agent said, is there anything else I can do for you? She said, no, thank you. And then the agent signed off by saying, I hope the rest of your day is as smooth as a glass of Baileys.
Oh.
That's great. On the same line, like when we launched our Google CCAS platform for Agent Console, before that we had a platform which was kind of breaking all the time. And the moment we launched, one of the challenges we had was how do we train our agents? Yeah. But then the platform was so interactive, and when we launched, we are seeing all the agents are raving about the platform. Through Knowledge Assist, we are able to provide Agent Assist capability in front of them. And then when a chat escalates to the live agent, with all the right technology and used, we are able to pass on the customer context to our agents, so they are not blind, like what happened with the interaction and all. So within like first week, we have seen when we relaunched Oliver, we saw 10 percentage point improvement, and in less than a year, we saw 17 percentage point improvement on customer resolution. So we, in Cox, we have moved away from containment to the resolution to make sure that the customer issue is resolved in the channel they are talking with us on. And then at the same time, we also embarked our journey into deflecting the customer from the traditional IVR channel to the digital platform. And we have seen up to 8x improvement on customer moving into the digital channel because the context is preserving. Within 3 months, we launched our voice IVR. It was built on the same AI model. So for certain intents, we are seeing up to more than 30% customer resolution. For example, on our appointment, it was more than 32% within like a month time frame, because those intents were reaching out to the live agent. Now we are able to resolve those agents, having more personalized conversation with our customers.
Awesome. So with this all outcomes you heard from the leaders, right? So I'm pretty sure you all might be excited. Okay, what is it? Show me something, right? So we would like to take a quick video of how they actually visualized and made that possible, right? Take a moment to show that video to you all.
So I just start like the middle one is Cox communication. It's our Oliver persona. It's more interactive, and that is what, like, yes, we wanted to go with a hybrid approach. We wanted to make it interactive. When a customer is asking a question, there is chat buttons, there is carousels. So it's more interactive, so the customer feels that and their information is also coming personalized. So this is, and that helped us improve on our adoption onto our digital platform.
Yeah, maybe about Key?
Yeah, so this is my Key behind you. And so I like to pride ourselves as being a data-driven organization. And the way that we kind of took the approach to understand how to build my Key, it's built on Google Dialogflow. It's about to grow up a little bit and go to become an LLM very soon. But we basically scanned all of our contact center interaction data to understand what our clients were doing digitally before they called us 30 minutes after. That really was allowing us to build out our entire intent catalog. We have about a 70% containment rate there, 55% stickiness, so 55% of our users come back and engage with MyKey again. We've got several different automated flows that are built off the back of it, and something that I think is really important and worthwhile mentioning, we've been able to reduce the cost to serve from a live agent chat of about $5 or a call around $8 to about 25 cents. And that means very real money to us. So over 13 million interactions, that's about $9 million in costs that we've been able to introduce as a savings within our own contact center. And again, that kind of goes back to as we take MyKey from infancy into teenage years, we can't lose sight of the fact that we've got to keep those metrics and that savings at the end of the day.
You're just looking at Herbie, our chatbot, which has been, this is the conversational agent version. It used to be on Dialogflow. And I've already talked about it a little bit, so I haven't got a great deal to add. But in this particular process, it's doing, I think, where is my order interaction and so on. Obviously, we hope that we can develop this a lot more and add on a lot more customer journeys onto it, and also be a bit more proactive. It's sitting there right in the front, it's right in the web shop or on the mobile app. We could probably do a lot more in terms of like interacting with our customers and helping them with their shopping experience.
Awesome. So you heard and you have seen it now as well, right? So the journey started with the vision and they have a right plan and they could be able to navigate with a greater level of learning as well, right? So with this, maybe we are in the final side of it, right? So talk to us about what's in stock, right? So we keep hearing from Google a lot about how they are approaching this Gemini Enterprise for CX, right? And we have seen a great demo as well as today on YouTube. So how do you visualize from each org perspective your future? Maybe that will helpful for us to take away as well to see how we can plan it for our future of CX and AI.
I can go ahead and start. So I think, again, I talked about this a lot. I think that there is this human component to all of this, right? And so what I really see the future in our contact center at Key and hopefully other places as well is how are we leveraging this technology to take those repeatable, mundane tasks off of humans' plates so that then they can really spend the time and energy with the empathy that they need to have interacting with our clients. And then at the same time, how are we giving them as much information, whether that be context from previous interactions, whether that be predictive insights into what they should be, maybe offering because maybe they're in the wrong product, so that they can really elevate the role that they're playing and they can really meet our customers in the moments that matter for them. I think that's the number one thing that I want to look at is that duality between agentic AI is very valuable and very helpful, but at the end of the day, so are our employees and our teammates, so let's make them as good as they possibly can be.
I alluded to earlier, I think there's a lot more that we can do to be where the customer needs to be and anticipate their needs, a lot more than we do currently. There's a sort of a coming together of customer service and sort of customer shopping experiences. And I think that we'd love to look at things like meal planners and that sort of stuff, and we think that the technology is there to support that now.
I would love a recommended meal plan from like an online grocery store.
If you could sort of just say, look, I've got these rough, or as you're building a basket, it would automatically suggest recipe ideas based on the items that you already have and stuff like that. I think there's loads of things that we can do with these agents going forwards. So yeah, I think it's pretty exciting for us.
Yeah, on the telco side, we mostly focus on the customer service. We want to move from service to sales, and that is definitely the next step. After that, I think what we would like to do is we would like to give our customer their personal assistant using this agentic capability. So whatever problem they have, they know that we have their personal assistant to help them solve their problem. So that's from the customer side. But as we build those capabilities, the technology also has to adapt and evolve. And whatever governance model, framework, operating model we have built, that needs to also go along with that. And lastly, we would like to leverage not only the agents to build our customer experience, but also for our employees. How can we bring in the code assist capability so that way we can still continue to deliver faster things while we still are learning on the new agentic platform.
Awesome. So you heard it from them, right? So they driven that moment that matters. And hyper-personalization, how can I assist my customer better, right? So that's what Kieren was explaining it as well. And yeah, greater story, technology is keep coming in as an enabler, but how we can use it and harness the power of technology is what Chirag explained, right? So with this, we are kind of in the end of the session where you heard from the leaders and Cognizant helped them to achieve these goals as well. And we are here in the booth, right? So please step in to 1119 and to hear about what we bring to the table. So we recently launched yesterday our retail CX offering to the market with Google. And we also committed to invest in Google Enterprise, Gemini Enterprise, along with Google for our customers. So please let us know how we can help in your journey, right? And a lot of cool solutions and offerings available as well, right? It's just not taking the technology and building it into a pieces of the technology, but making that outcome and making that journey better day in, day out, right? So with all of this, we would like to take few questions. I don't know, we have 5-6 minutes to our leaders. If you want to take any questions, yeah, raise your hand, and yeah, great.
So what are the challenges you faced when you bring this one to live, to the customers? Because the volume will be massive, right? So the cost management using LLM. So how did you address it?
Sorry, I couldn't totally hear that question.
I think you are asking about how do you do cost management when you go through LLM with the volume, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so there are two aspects of it. That's where like the hybrid framework, when you build any bot, is going to be very useful. As a technologist, you get very much carried away with, oh, I want to use generative in each and every problem solving. So you as a technology working very closely with your business partner, you need to identify which problem is really to be solved here. What's our objective? Is our objective business outcomes, resolving customer challenges? For example, in telco, if a customer comes and they want to pay their bill, there's no need of creating that through a generative AI capability. It can go through a deterministic flow. As far as the customer issue is resolved, you don't care whether it's generative or deterministic one. So that was the approach we took, and that helped us to kind of contain our usage of our LLM models, and then that helped us to stay in our kind of control in terms of our operations for implementing this in production.
Yeah, and I can add to that. We started with our summarizations on transfers, right? Those are going to be your most important. On all of the all of the data, my analytics team is typically running that behind the scenes after the fact. So we, again, are also kind of understanding what is that, when is the right moment for us to turn those things on versus maybe do it after the fact in a much cheaper, easier environment. And we also have a very kind of similar approach, which is, can deterministic AI solve some of the problems at hand, or do we really need to go all the way? I had a call with one of my engineers once, and I forget what we were looking at, but he was like, oh my gosh, this is not even going to be worth the amount of money that we will save, so we should not go that direction. But I think having those open and honest conversations grounded in what is important and what are you trying to solve, and then what is the cost against that, will help you really determine where you should be playing and where you shouldn't.
I'd only add that you can just be agile, test and learn, try things in small samples first to see whether or not it works, and then monitor it and see what the performance is like. I think that applies to most things. We did the meal planner. We did try and build a meal planner. I believe it cost something like 70p for each time that it did a sort of a meal plan, which would be pretty much, you do that 3 times, and that's our margin pretty much cut on a customer order. So we had to we have to monitor those things really closely.
Yeah, question there.
This is Amir. I'm an AI architect at SAP CX. So thank you all for sharing your journey. Very valuable. Is it good? My question is mainly for Kieren. You mentioned about the NPS not changing. Could you please shed a little more light on it? Were you expecting it to go down, or were you expecting it to go up? And I know your NPS is already high, but what was your expectation, and how did you interpret the results, basically?
It's a bit like the NPS score sometimes feels like a vase that you're carrying very delicately, because it's a very good score, and we always think that one day it will start going down, and we might not fully understand why it does, but it just seems to be quite resilient. All I can say is that we didn't expect it to go down. We kind of thought it might do, because there was always a possibility that the interaction wouldn't work very well, or the deployment might not be so effective. So there was always that chance, but as it turned out, it didn't go down, and we didn't need to worry about it after all.
If I could add on to NPS really quickly, because that's very near and dear to my heart. I think that, again, NPS, to your point, being that vase, that there's a lot of components to it. And so while we may be introducing new experiences from a digital perspective or from an automation perspective, we also are really leaning into our contact center agents to help improve their overall servicing so that the overarching NPS can kind of stay, if not grow. But we do measure across all of our initiatives individual points of NPS, so that if we do start to see slippage anywhere, we have levers we can pull to kind of reel things in and get them tighter. We took our conversational AI bot MyKey through the same type of personalized training that our agents who handle the phones, and something called Moments Matter, which is how do you meet clients where they are, how do you always say what you can do, not what you can't do, and there's a whole list of ethos around it, and so we've really tried to translate that into any experience you have, whether it be human or non-human.
And then as one of the guiding principles, we had the continuous feedback and improvement, right? Even if your NPS is going down, if you had that robust continuous feedback and improvement loop, and you can take action quickly, you can definitely catch up and improve on your NPS. Because whenever you are implementing new technology, there might be a situation where it will go down. But if you have a robust framework, then you can definitely catch up on that.
So I know a lot of questions are coming in, but we are on time. Maybe one last question, yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, I'd love to learn about your approach to training or configuring these agents. If you did any A/B testings with the prompts, maybe, and how do you continually improve how the agents responded to the interaction?
Yeah, so we had, when we moved from IVR to, when we were doing a deflection from IVR to chat platform, we ran a couple of champion challenges. And we saw that a verbiage impacts huge in terms of how the customer are adapting and switching from one channel to other channel. While we had running those champion challenges, as I mentioned, there needs to be a robust continuous feedback loop that can help to train the model, improve your prompts, improve your guardrails. So all those capabilities will definitely help in order to build a right bot at the same. the first time it might not be right, but then as you have this framework set up properly, you can continuously improve on it.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Kieren, Kim, and Chirag for joining us and sharing the insights. And yeah, so we can stand out as well for any more questions. I know a lot of hands are getting raised, so happy to answer that. But thank you so much for all of you spending time hearing the story of what the success means. And
thank you.